What's up, guys? This is my book review for The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami. I've been putting off reading this book for a long time because Haruki Murakami is one of my favorite authors. I've probably read 7 or 8 of his other books, and I've often heard this is his magnum opus. So there was kind of like a thing where I wanted to put off reading it because I didn't want to be done reading his stuff. And I'm not, because I haven't read 1Q84 and I haven't read... he's like incredibly prolific and he's written a ton of novels, so I have a lot more reading to do. But I loved The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle. It was so good. His very simple and easy to comprehend prose almost like mesmerizes me and like lulls me into a semi-dream-like state where I can just really get lost in his books. It's interesting because I don't really enjoy simple prose that much, as a general rule. I typically like stuff that's like a little bit challenging, and I like to feel like I'm challenging myself, but I think Murakami's like the great exception to that. Also, I don't love magical realism, kind of as a rule, but I love Haruki Murakami, so I don't know. This book, to me, feels like it's written in a detective noir style, but the magical realism makes everything able to be more dynamic, and I think gives him a lot more ability to make synchronicity in the plot, because if you can kind of change the physical or metaphysical rules in the story, you can make things line up in really cool ways that aren't really available to normal detective stories. I just love it. It's really cool. He also like sneaks in strangely like really funny moments that are amazing. I don't want to go too in depth. I don't want to give any spoilers, but I would say though, it's probably not my favorite book by him. I think my favorite book by him is still Kafka on the Shore. And the big difference I can come up with, other than I read Kafka on the Shore first, and that's like when I really fell in love with his writing. The only other difference would be that Kafka on the Shore is a lot more plot driven, and The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle is a lot more interior. And I don't enjoy like really interior books as a rule. I tend to write a lot of interiority, so maybe that's like why I'm not so into reading it as much. Just kind of like you tend to fetishize the things that you don't do as a writer, maybe. I don't know, just like that's a theory of mine. But Kafka on the Shore takes similar themes, but I guess just he projects them outward into the literary environment rather than having the protagonist reflect on what's going on in the book within his own head, and I enjoy that more. But I definitely highly recommend reading The Wind-Up Bird Chronicle by Haruki Murakami. I think it's one of the top-selling books of all time at the Harvard bookstore. I saw that somewhere online. And it makes sense to be why. So check it out.